Dental Fuel, the podcast that focuses on what no one else is talking about: mistakes. The dental world is full of before and afters, and no one is talking about the middle. Dental Fuel brings you the unspoken in between. Welcome back to another episode of Dental Fuel. Dental Fuel is brought to you by 90 Day Jumpstart, a program to help you increase production and break free from financial stress. Investing in CE can be expensive, but we need to remember it's an investment, not an expense. In this episode, Jeff discusses his journey in the world of dentistry, focusing on the financial pitfalls that many practitioners face, including himself. We dive into a financial mistake, but also the importance of continuing education, where Dr. Horowitz will emphasize the importance of taking CE and seeing it as an investment rather than an expense.
Along with clinical mistakes that we make, financial mistakes are some that we see many dentists make, including myself. And I'm curious if there was a financial mistake that you have made in your past, or if it has to do anything with this case that you just shared.
So no, not with regard to that case. And I didn't end up getting sued. In fact, I still have a relationship with the patient. Yeah. But, we always talk about this and, I think some of the issues in medicine revolve around, being willing to say, look, this was the best I knew at the time, but we know more now. And thank you for helping me grow as a clinician. On the financial side, really, we're I've always kind of had a little bit of a knack for that in the dental practice. But where I really failed was in tax planning. And I think that that's an area that a lot of dentists struggle in, which is, they start a business, whether it be an LLC or just a traditional partnership, or, maybe it's just a sole practitioner entity, and there are no taxes being taken out. And figuring out how much to be setting aside and having the discipline to do that. There was literally 10 years of my life where I was always playing catch up on taxes from the last year. So what my piece of advice to anyone out there is, first of all, if you're very disciplined, talk to your accountant and learn how to do that proper tax planning. If you are a little bit less disciplined, consider becoming a corporation or an entity where you can draw a paycheck, draw the right amount of taxes out every time. And because it's really no fun when you work a whole year and then tax time comes around and literally you're working the next 6 months to figure out how you're going to pay your tax bill because you didn't, send enough in quarterly taxes. So I would say that's been my biggest financial mistake throughout my career.
That's huge. I don't think we've had anyone speak on taxes, and that's really important. So how did you get better?
My accountant said, Jeff, you don't have the discipline to do this properly. So you are going to become a corporation. We are going to draw taxes out and problem solved,
So get the knowledge that you need and get a good accountant is what I'm hearing.
Right. And then the other side of that is acknowledge what you're good at and what you suck at, right? The second we do that and say, okay, I'm good at this, these are my strengths. Here's where I'm going to focus and be good at it. But these are the things I'm not so good at as a human being, not just as a dentist, and delegate those or find somebody who can help you find a solution.
Very well said, Jeff. Jeff, along the line of finances, I know that you have invested a lot in yourself, and it can be kind of challenging for dentists to find the time and resources to do that. What would your advice be as far as those who are considering maybe taking those very expensive continuing education courses, or, taking that big step to take COIS or look into, something like Piper? What would you say to that?
Find one thing at a time. So first of all, my philosophy in dentistry has always been that CE is an investment. It is not an expense. And you got to take a lot of really bad CE for it not to be fruitful in really adding to your bottom line, not just as a dentist, but as a human being and all the other things that you'll learn from the people that you surround yourself with at these courses. There's this thing called the proximity principle, which says, if you really want to get great at something, surround yourself with people who are great at that very same thing. And so when you go to these kind of continuum learning courses, it's not just about I paid X to learn Y. It's I paid X to surround myself with a lot of other passionate people who want to do good by their patients and want to improve the level of dentistry that they're doing. And what you learn from those people that you surround yourself with often supersedes what you learn from the didactic information that you get. And so that's always been the thing that has fed me in my career, even when, you kind of get down in practice or sometimes feel the monotony or you get frustrated at what it's like in the office. The thing that has always fueled me up, like the way that I threw that in there.
Oh, I love it. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Tell David, thank you very much. The thing that has always fueled me in dentistry is going to another course and learning something new and talking with the people next to me about how we're going to implement it in our practices, how our practices were different, and how, it's like a reinvigoration. Every time you learn something new, you're not going to use it all, but if you take one or two things that improve your practice, improve your bottom line, or improve your outlook, in how you diagnose and treat patients, then I have made so much more emotionally and financially as well from the money I've spent in CE than I could ever imagine. And so that's my message to everyone. Never, ever, ever look at CE as an expense. It is truly an investment, not only in yourself, but in the practice as well.
Can you build upon the thought of creating a community in attending these CE courses and what that has done for you in your practice of dentistry?
Yeah. And again, that is, that's the hidden annuity of CE is the community that you build from doing that. Me getting to meet the Tanyas and I said Tanya, not Tanya.
That's all right. That's all right. You call me what you'd like.
No, TS. How about that?
That's perfect. There you go.
That works. Okay. But meeting people like you, meeting the David Rices, and having just a community of people that just learn to adapt as they practice and not try to stay in this lonely world of, this is just me, this is how I do things. And, when you meet like minds like that, that's where excitement comes from. And having those resources without having to go back to the John Coyce and say, now, wait a minute, you talked about this, having a community of people who have sat in those same courses with you and say, how are you doing this? Or what was your take on this? Or I know John talked about this in the lecture, but how is that working out for you clinically with your patients in your setting? And there's so much more that can come from that than even going back and saying, hey, John, because, he practices in a completely different environment that many of us do. So, everyone has a unique situation, and the only way you can meet people who might have similar experiences or, a similar point of view is by getting into these communities that come from structured continuums and structured CE.
For me, it is very important to have a community that I surround myself with, and I agree with you. CE is a great way to do that. Organized dentistry is another great way to do that. And I know 100%. You and I have had great conversations about this with Dentists in the Know, and we feel very strongly about it. But building a community and your team in your practice is also another great way just to help you get by in the world of dentistry.
Our friends at Dentists in the Know are truly the best. Have you checked them out yet? Be sure to tune into their episodes every Wednesday evening live on YouTube. If you're looking to grow your practice and need some help along the way, be sure to check out 90 Day Jumpstart. You can start for free by contacting Dr. David Rice. Check out the link to his Calendly in the show notes.